Think about it for a second. The smartphone that's probably in your pocket right now, the GPS that gets you where you're going, the internet. Heck, even the rockets heading for the stars. So many of these world-changing inventions have one thing in common. They all got their start in America. But why is that?
So, what's the secret sauce? What is it about the United States that turns it into this incredible engine for creativity and innovation? Well, it turns out there's kind of this secret formula at play. And today, we're going to break it down piece by piece. Let's get into it.
All right, ingredient number 1. And this might be the most important one of all. It's not a piece of tech, it's not some natural resource. Nope, it all starts with a mindset, a specific way of thinking.
And this is where you see a huge cultural difference. See, in a lot of places around the world, failure is, well, it's a dead end, something you avoid at all costs. But in the American innovation culture, it's often seen as just a stepping stone. It's a lesson you learn on your way to getting it right. And that simple difference in perspective, it's everything. It gives people permission to take those massive risks that, just might lead to a world-changing breakthrough.
So when you have this freedom to try and even fail, it builds this really specific kind of ecosystem. It doesn't just create inventors and dreamers. It creates these relentless problem solvers, and it's the fuel for companies, from Silicon Valley all the way to research hubs across the country that are literally built from the ground up to just push the boundaries and go compete on a global stage. Okay, but having the right mindset, that's only half the battle, right? You also need a constant, steady flow of new ideas. So where do those come from? Well, that brings us to ingredient number 2, what we're calling the idea pipeline.
A massive part of this pipeline comes from America's top universities. I mean, these places are so much more than just schools. They're basically innovation hubs. They're where groundbreaking research happens, where startups get launched right out of dorm rooms, and where the frontiers of science are constantly being pushed forward.
And the other key source? It's the people. The US has this incredible ability to act like a magnet for talented folks from all over the planet. We're talking top scientists, brilliant engineers, coders, artists, you name it. And they all bring their own unique ways of seeing the world, creating this amazing melting pot of pure creativity.
And that right there gets to the absolute heart of it. It's not just about having more people, it's about having different ways of thinking. When you blend all these different cultures together, you're blending their ideas. And that diversity, it becomes a massive competitive advantage. It just makes the whole innovation system that much stronger.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got the right mindset, and we've got a pipeline of great ideas. But how do you take a brilliant little idea and turn it into a world-changing reality? Well, you need fuel. And that brings us to our third and final ingredient, the growth fuel.
Now, a huge part of this fuel is something you've probably heard of, venture capital. It's this really powerful financial system where investors basically make bets. They fund small, early-stage ideas that they think have huge potential. They're betting on the future. And that cash infusion is exactly what helps turn a dream that started in a garage into a company that's known all over the world.
And you can almost map out the journey, right? It always starts with a bold new idea. Then that crucial venture capital investment comes in, giving it the resources it needs to actually build and scale up. And the result? Well, the result can be some of the most iconic companies on the planet, companies that completely change how we live and work. We're talking about Google, Apple, Tesla, the list goes on.
But here's the thing. It would be a huge mistake to think this is all about private money, because it's not. In fact, some of the most fundamental, game-changing innovations we all rely on today, they didn't start in a venture capitalist's boardroom. They actually started as US government projects.
I mean, really think about this. The internet? That started as a military project back in the 60s. GPS, developed by the government in the 70s. So many of the huge breakthroughs in medicine and space tech, they all came from public funding. These were massive, long-term government investments that literally laid the groundwork for entire new industries to be built on top of them.
So we've looked at the mindset, we've talked about the idea pipeline, and we've covered the growth fuel. Now, let's put all of those pieces together and take a look at the complete secret formula.
So here it is. This is the whole formula. And you can see how it's really a powerful cycle. It starts with a mindset, right? That risk-taking culture gives people the freedom to experiment. That freedom then attracts global talent and supercharges our universities, creating a non-stop idea pipeline. And finally, the growth fuel, from both private venture capital and the government, gives those ideas the resources they need to scale up and have a global impact. You see, each part just feeds right into the next.
When you see it all laid out like this, it becomes really clear that this kind of Innovation, it's not an accident. It's not just lightning in a bottle. It's a system. It's an entire ecosystem that grows from this unique combination of freedom, great ideas, opportunity, and just sheer determination. And this is the formula that is still shaping our future today.
And that leaves us with one final, really important question to chew on. We've broken down this formula that has worked so incredibly well in America. But are these ingredients universal? Could this same formula for innovation work anywhere else in the world? It's definitely something to think about.